Hi there. My name is John Stevens. I'm pastor of Zion Lutheran Church in Oregon City, Oregon, and we're part of the ELCA. And welcome to Dollar Store Children's Sermons, where we take a look at the lectionary text, we tie them to an item from the Dollar Tree. And I say that hopefully, hopeful, full of hope, because I'm still doing live streaming for worship, but we're able to get out more and things like that. So I'm able to go to the Dollar Tree and get items. Many of the items I'm using you can also find in your junk drawer, your kid's room, or the garage. And so I hope you all are doing well, that you're able to get your vaccine, and that all of those things. We will be, as Zion Lutheran, will be reopening up July 11th. And that's what we're hoping for. But the building will be reopened because we've been open. Anyway, so welcome. This is for the Revised Common Lectionary, and we are looking at the Gospel lesson and the first reading. And I've done a children's sermon post on this before, so you can look it up, and it's a way that Jesus gets looked at kind of strange because of his kind of cryptic text, or what he says. They're all of these people are my brothers and sisters, and things like that. So I've got two springboards going on, and one is kind of going with the Mark text, but also going with the first reading, which God confronts Adam and Eve, and so there's kinds of these different springboards. So one item I'm using is dough, modeling dough. It sounds like Bond. James Bond, but Play-Doh. But it's from the Dollar Tree, so it's dough, modeling dough. And in there is different cookie cutters, different shapes. And that's what got my attention, because we hear the phrase, cookie cutter Christian. And this, I wouldn't necessarily use these wordings, see if my mouth can actually function today. I would not use those words in the children's sermon, but they're the cookie cutter Christian, where it's like you're just everybody's the same. But the beautiful part, what I like about this is that, so we've got Play-Doh, we've got that our creation, our Creator, the one that creates us, uses the same stuff. It's the same hands that mold us. It's the same Creator, but we are different shapes. Just because one has used a cookie cutter doesn't mean that one cookie is exactly the same. Or here this has 5 different shapes and different things, but it's in essence the same one. And so what I'm liking about this is that as Jesus expands the definition of family, as Jesus expands what it means to be part of his tribe, if you will, as the arms reach around us. This here, I look at the different things. There's a duck, there's is it a pig? Oh, a piggy, a little tree and a house, and a rabbit, different things like that. And so as we look at this, it all comes from the same dough. And so I'm looking at that, a kind of expanding of how we look at who belongs to the family of Jesus, and that would be all of us. So there's that. The other springboard, the other item I'm using, it's a retractable card holder. And I have this image of, in the gospel lesson, but also in the first reading, is that, first of all, in the gospel lesson, Jesus is expanding what it means to be family. And the thing I like about this retractable card holder is this. We've got that expands, but it's held on, and it's expanded, and then it can retract, in the sense that we are connected to the Creator. We are connected to the one that has created us. We are part of the promised part of God's family. I also see that in the Adam and Eve story, and how God takes them to task. God calls, and it's like, who told you this? What's going on? And there's a sense, a lot of stuff happens as they're sent from the garden. A lot of stuff happens, but we see through story after story after story in Scripture that God does all that God can to keep us connected to God. And through God, through Christ, and through the gifts of the Spirit, as we are all called and we are pulled back into God's loving care. And even when we think, we're here, even when we're thinking, it's like, it could be this. Here you go. All right, so we've got here, you could put a little character on here, and here's God. All right, so here's this character, and they are now apart, and they are not connected to God at all. Not at all. Well, they are, because they're connected this way. And so this idea that sometimes when you might feel like you're not connected to God, you actually are, and God's grace and God's mercy holds on to you firmly. So that's another springboard on there. In the gospel lesson of the expansion of Christ's family, there's a couple of weeks back I used there's the walking through paper. It's you can search that up. If you haven't used it, this is another good chance to use that, because it literally it's a piece of paper, and that piece of paper, when you're done cutting it, expands to where you can walk through it, and how, again, God's circle, God's understanding, and Christ's explanation, if that's the word I'm working for, but that we see that we are part of God's family, and the circle gets enlarged, and we are included in that. All right, a couple of springboards for you for the children's sermon. And always, thank you so much for being a partner in this ministry. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you're doing well. I hope this summer is starting off better than last summer, I guess. And so blessings be on you and your kids, and thank you for the work and the ministry that you're doing. All right, we'll see you next week. Peace.